Hi all, welcome back.
Again with the channel.
Is it online? Welcome back to the Truth Seekers channel. Today we are going to check out some ley line stuff. We are trying to put all these ancient monuments that humans cannot steal. Some archaeologists and scientists cannot figure out how they have been built and why, and we're trying to find some, you know, strange places like the Bermuda Triangle. It's right there. We saw the Aramumuru in the Peru, and in Peru there are a lot of places, the Nazca lines, and we also found the Easter Island is on a ley line, the Adam's calendar. Some places in Kenya also here, Giza, the Petra Church, Mohenjo-Daro, Angkor Wat.
There are a lot of more.
Yeah, there are more. And in China we found the Leshunt Giants, and in Australia the Uluru Kacha.
Yeah.
So this is
So in the sea there are also things.
yeah, in the sea, but we cannot see them.
No, so probably on the bottom. They also found
yes.
ancient buildings in underwater. Did you know that? At Japan, I believe they also found ancient stuff
Underwater. Okay, I did not know
Near
that,
Japan.
but it is possible, of course.
Yeah, and also
There could have been a lot of things built underwater. There's Japan there. Japan, yeah, there's some lines there. And there's a big one at the right. There are a lot of lines combined. So if you look at this thing from above the earth, you see definitely a structure. All these things are, and especially the Easter Island and the Giza pyramid. When the sun goes up in Egypt by Giza, the sun goes down in Easter Island exactly like 12 hours. And I can show you one movie I found on YouTube with this guy, who is it? Marshall Clarfeld. He's linking the Easter Island with the Anunnakis. Let's take a look.
Easter Island. The spacecrafts that are orbiting the equator will observe the Earth turn from daylight to night and back to daylight. On the Earth, this is a 12-hour cycle, shown in the lower right-hand corner of this illustration.
Left, right-hand corner.
The ideal system for navigation, thousands of years before the Earth had any flight navigation systems, would be to include at least 2 reflective beacons visible during daylight hours. Easter Island is a small remote island 3,000 miles from the nearest land. It is located almost 12 hours west of the Giza pyramids.
12 hours.
When the sun vanishes from the reflecting Giza pyramids, the sun begins to shine on Easter Island. In the upper left-hand corner, we see an Easter Island statue with polished coral white eyes looking upward. These statues were placed so that they almost ring the perimeter of this small island. All statues face east, and that would have resulted in their shiny eyes creating a respectable second beacon for overflying spaceships. Some of these statues were anchored atop of cyclopean walls.
But what do these the Easter Island statues have on their head? Are these faces?
No, when they have
Or
their
pots?
hats.
Pottery?
hats,
No, or is it pottery? You know,
to show that there's other leaders. Is their hat the high function, like that is the mother with the hat, the hat is your post or your hat, and you get the hat on, that's your function. It says something about your function, like the policeman has a hat on, the postman has a hat on.
Okay.
So in those times they had also some hats on. So it's not just, but it's a big rock. It's not a little pottery. It's like hundreds of thousands of kilo. with a different color. It's like red.
illustrated in the lower left-hand corner.
I'll show you later.
This type of wall construction was used by the builders of the Giza pyramids.
You want to see it? What they have on? Easter Island. Easter, what you call it? The Easter Island, not the X. Statues, heads. It's a good topic for Easter days. Today is 1st of Easter, 1 April. We're not making an April Fool's video here. These heads here, you see? He has one, big one here.
Yeah, but it looks like he's...
Yeah,
on the
look.
other hand, he has something like
See?
a face or pottery on his head, you know? He has some cargo on his head.
Mm.
That's what I was thinking. You know, you see it could also be a face.
Or a hat.
Yeah, or also a head could also be. But in Africa, you know, they transport stuff on their head while they're walking.
Yeah.
And
But
I
we
thought-
have hats as a decoration.
Mhm.
This is the captain, the leader. This is the second in command.
And that one.
This one is had no hat.
Nope.
He's the helper.
Yeah, but what about these eyes?
I don't know. What about it? Somebody maybe painted the eyes later on. And in the Easter Island, they had long time ago the Birdman culture. They worship the Birdman. And who is the Birdman? That's of course the Anunnaki. That's how I knew the Anunnaki were there. They were worshipping the Birdman. This is the Birdman. Okay, let's see out this.
And the Baalbek platform. It is very difficult to achieve,
Nice music.
and archaeologists are still mystified by these structures. My discovery of this type of masonry on Easter Island is evidence to me who the statue builders were. All of the Easter Island statues have extra long ears, big noses, and beards, all features of the Anunnaki.
See?
Sometimes the coral was placed on the top of these hats to add extra reflectivity to the overflying spaceships.
So this guy also came to the conclusion that these were aliens at Easter Island. Okay, so what does this has to do with the Book of Enoch? Hey, somebody's typing. Oh, no.
Back again in the chat.
Study of the geography of 1 Enoch 17 examines the travels of the patriarch Enoch, who is given a guided tour of extraordinary and at times terrifying places located throughout the cosmos. They are reconstructing the mental map of the geography that lies behind the textual descriptions, especially so Enoch was flying around with these Anunnakis and they were showing him all kinds of places.
Okay.
And flat Earth. So some people say it's flat Earth.
Visible and documented the conception, production, dissemination, and study of maps. Cartography is also about representation, the map. This means that cartography is the whole process of mapping. Cartography is a complex and ever-changing field, and at the center of it is the map-making process. Viewed in the broadest sense, this process includes everything from gathering, evaluation, and processing of source data, through the intellectual and graphical design of the map, to the drawing and reproduction of the final document. As such, it is a unique mixture of science, art, and technology, and calls for a variety of in-depth knowledge and skills on the part of the cartographer. Sometimes, one person directs the entire sequence of cartographic activities, but this occurs only in relatively simple cases. In the creation of a map, it is much more common for the various tasks to be split up and accomplished by several individuals. Cartography is much more than just map making, however. It is also an academic discipline in its own right. It has its own professional associations, regional, national, and international, journals, conferences, been using. It has been coined the oblique Mercator projection, or the least populated in a stylish. And don't ever forget that you matter. You are important.
And run with the sun, log, day and according to the round of the season. And the sun goes through the 5th gate 35 days, the 4th 35 days, the 3rd 35 days, the 2nd 35 days. And so the days of the whole year are completed, according to the cycle of the 4 seasons.
See?
In a wave form? How is that possible?
This is how they portray some stuff in Enoch. You see, it also goes through this Peru.
The temple
wave.
of the
Maybe it's a wave. It goes like through like a wave. Yeah. Maybe that's more accurate. Wave like.
Then those men carried me away to the west of the heaven, and they showed me 6 large open gates corresponding to the circuit of the eastern gates, opposite them, where the sun sets, according to the number of days, 365 and 1/4. Thus the sun goes back once again to the eastern gates, under the earth. And when the sun goes out from the western gates, he takes off his light, the splendor which is his radiance, and 400 angels take his crown and carry it to the Lord, for since his shining crown is with God, with 400 angels guarding it. The sun turns his chariot around and goes back under the earth on wheels, without the great light which is his great radiance and ornament. The sun remains for 7 great hours in night, and the chariot spends half its time under the earth.
Okay.
And when he comes to the eastern approaches, in the 8th hour of the night, the 400 angels bring back the crown and crown him, and his brightness and the shining of his crown are seen before sunrise, and the sun blazes out more than fire does. Then the solar elements, called phoenixes and chalkedras, burst into song. That is why every bird flaps its wings, rejoicing at the giver of light. They burst into song at the Lord's command. The light giver is coming to give radiance to the whole world, and the morning watch appears, which is the sun's rays. And the sun comes out over the face of the earth, and retrieves his radiance, to give light to all the face of the earth. They showed me the calculation of the sun's movement, and the gates by which he goes in and out. For these are the great gates, which God created to be an annual horologe. This is why the sun has the greater heat, and the cycle for him goes on for 28 years, and begins once more from the start.
Back again.
So in the Book of Enoch, they show you this, how the sun goes up, goes in a gate and comes down in the east gate, and it goes down in the west gate. Interesting stuff. So, according to the Book of Enoch, the earth is flat.
Jusk is nu in 50 landen. Dat vieren we met
Die
fantastische
landen.
aanbiedingen. Je profiteert van 20 tot 50% korting op alle tuinen.
Many innumerable armies called Grigori. Their appearance was like the appearance of a human being, and their size was larger than that of large giants, and their faces were dejected, and the silence of their mouths was perpetual. And there was no liturgy in the fifth heaven. I then said to the men who were with me, what is the explanation that these ones are so very dejected, and their faces miserable, and their mouths?
This is the second Book of Enoch. But you can see the ley lines and the Book of Enoch looks like goes through the same parts, but in waves. That's how we can know that this is not a coincidence and that there were aliens on Earth. Maybe there still is. I think there's still aliens on Earth, and they're coming back they're here with their they're like their seconds in command are here. They left like some aliens, the Greys or something, to watch over us. And their mothership that comes by every 3600 years. And that is of course the planet X. Planet X spaceships. So what do you think? Any doubt that there are aliens or not? Because they're trying their best to stop people from sharing the knowledge.
Yeah. What can you say? Yeah, these buildings are really hard to make, even for today's society. So yeah, I don't know. What did they know in the past? I mean, stuff like that you don't see. You don't see us create these days. It's almost impossible, I think, to make that Buddha these days.
The Buddha.
You know, the large Buddha. Do you think it's possible?
The Lesson Giant. What's it? The Lesson Giant?
Buddha.
Bij Helpling vind je een ervaren schoonmaakhulp in slechts een paar klikken. Kies de
This one, yeah.
Yeah, the size of the thing.
Yes, it's really big.
Look at the size. I don't think we can make that.
Impossible. Biggest foot.
It's carved from out of the rock, isn't it?
Yeah. Two sides are carved in.
But the stone. Weird part is that is really grayish stone, and the rest is a bit red-like.
Oh yeah.
It's also strange.
Yeah. This is black. This is red.
Yeah, how is that possible? Okay.
Alright. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel. See you next time.